Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Welcome back to the Patrick Riggins Show. Tori's depressed. He's miscuing songs.
I'm having a hard time today.
I told him, I said, if this was a nationwide radio program, which at some point it probably will be, but right now it is not. So we don't worry about screwing up music cues.
Well, that's good, because I did that one.
Yeah. I like when I'm saying, hey, I think you were supposed to play that one from the start.
Oh.
No, I queued a minute 15. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, that's what that says.
Yeah. It said
In other words, Tori, shut up and read and do what you're supposed to do.
Oh.
That's what I need to be doing.
We'll go dock Tori's pay. Hey, give me half of that Wendy's sandwich.
Yes. And if Christy and Candace are listening on their way home from my grandmother's, this is a lesson for you. Anyway, go ahead.
Read the instructions.
Yeah.
Don't guess at the instructions. Don't assume that the last instruction carries over to the next instruction.
Yes. Never assume, because you know what happens when we assume.
You're wrong?
Yes.
All right. Oh, all righty. Welcome back to the Patrick Riggins Show here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. When we left off, we were talking about gun control and our El Presidente. Coming back here, we'll jump back into these clips from his press conference there on Thursday, and we'll just pick up with this one.
This is our best chance in more than a decade to take common sense steps that will save lives.
All right. Common sense steps to save lives. They always use that phrase when they're taking away your rights, don't they? That's just a common sense thing to do. Well, I guess to them that is. You having those pesky little freedom and liberty rights, that's just an impediment to the government, and the president is the government. So, sorry, Mr. President, but what you're proposing isn't common sense. And if you think it is, well, I guess it just shows you don't have any.
If there's one thing I've said consistently since I first ran for this office, nothing is more powerful than millions of voices calling for change.
So if millions of voices say they don't want an unconstitutional program like Obamacare, well, we're not going to listen to those. But if millions of voices call out to restrict the rights of American citizens, oh, okay, well, we'll listen to those people. This is why we have a representative republic, not a democracy. And this is a little civics lesson for all of you guys who, well, they're just no longer offer civics in high school. But a democracy is roughly equivalent to mob rule, whatever the majority wants. If that means locking up people for no reason or taking their property, taking their money, so be it. The majority voted for it. In our republic, with the Constitution, you cannot do things contrary to that document. That is the protector of the people, of our rights. I don't care how many people vote that you cannot have a gun. If the Constitution says you can, then that's all there is to it. If you want to change that, we can. The founders made the Constitution so you could make amendments to it, and that's how you go about doing it. That's why members of Congress and the president, they swear to uphold and defend the Constitution, because anything that violates that document, they should be voting against. It doesn't matter if every single person in their district wants them to vote the other way. Their first obligation is to the Constitution, not their voters. I'm sorry if that shatters some people's illusions about how this country was originally set up to work and should be working now, but really isn't. Your representatives' loyalties are to the Constitution that they swear to uphold and defend. They don't swear to uphold and defend the interests of businesses in their district. or certain key donors or people who might have pictures of the congressional representative in a seedy motel room. Their first loyalty is supposed to be the Constitution. Now, Rand Paul was on Sean Hannity's show this week, and if you didn't catch it, here is what he said about the president's proposals.
My question to the president is, call me if any of your reforms would have saved those kids at Sandy Hook. If anything he's proposing would have changed the outcome, I'll listen to him. I haven't heard one proposal from him or Harry Reid that would have saved one life.
Exactly right. Because the president's aim, I guess, pardon the bad pun, but his aim is to further restrict gun ownership. That's what he really wants to do.
The only thing that would have changed the outcome, potentially changed the outcome, is something that so many people don't want to hear, and that's self-defense. That if someone there had a concealed carry, if someone had been armed, they might have had a fighting chance. They might not have saved everybody, but they might have been able to save some of those.
Wow, that's scary. I'm thinking like Rand Paul, or he's thinking like me. Just as I stated at the start of this segment, if the Virginia House of Delegates had passed the law allowing guns on the Virginia Tech campus, lives might have been saved. If you don't allow guns and you have a shooting, then something has to change. The answer isn't to not allow guns. You're already doing that, and it didn't work. So the other option is to allow guns. You know, what is it, the classic definition of insanity if you keep doing the same thing over and over but looking for a different outcome? Well, here it is. You don't allow guns. You have a shooting. So what's the answer? Still don't allow guns? Boy, that sure sounds intelligent and reasoned. In this next clip, Senator Paul makes a logical argument which is sure not to resonate with gun-grabbing liberals, since it's just outright pure hatred of guns. It overrules the sensible part of their brains.
Criminals do crime. They don't pay attention to our laws. We have laws against murder, and we should have laws against murder, but that doesn't seem to be deterring these people. The penalty for murder can be death. It can be life in prison. We have significant penalties for murder, and that's not deterring these crimes. So somehow an extra permit or a fine for buying a gun improperly is going to stop someone who's a mass murderer?
There you go. He is accurately laying the blame on the criminals for all this crime. They are the ones causing it. Criminals, crime. Do you hear how they use the same word roots there?
What happens so often is politicians just want to act quickly. They want to do something, and the president's into showmanship. He wants to show people that he cares, but in the end, he's not really going to do anything that would have made the outcome different.
Again, good reasoning from Senator Paul, which is sure to be discarded since it doesn't line up with what the president wants, what liberals want. Do you see how that works? How you can tell what their real agenda might be? If you can make a logical, reasoned argument and still they don't listen, then they aren't really interested in solving the problem, just using something to advance their agenda. If they were looking to solve the problem, then they would welcome a reasoned argument because it would be a correct one. All right, we're up on the last break here on the Patrick Riggin Show already. This hour's just flying by like it does every week. I really need to take this show out to about 3 hours. He won't even talk to me now since he screwed up the cue on that last music. Is it shooting? There he goes. Oh, yeah. Tori is all over this show today.
15 minutes. I get to go hide my own Easter eggs. I'll never find them.
Did you hide the cue for those shows in the Easter egg, too? Hey, too early for that?
It's too soon.
All right. This is Patrick Ricketts on the Liberty Lighthouse Radio Network. We will return.
When the voice is screaming, I'm much too loud. Take a look in the